All right, let's talk about our stuff. We're all pretty used to recycling, right? Sorting our trash, putting it in the right bin. But what if I told you that's just the tip of the iceberg? That there is a much bigger and, frankly, a much smarter idea out there. Today, we're going way beyond the bin to really dig into something called the circular economy.
So let's just start with this one powerful question. What if all the things we throw away every single day weren't actually at the end of their life? What if, instead, they were just at the start of a whole new one? Just let that sink in for a minute.
To really get where we're headed, we've got to take a hard look at where we are right now. And the truth is, for the most part, we're living in a world that has a big, straight line problem.
I mean, think about almost anything you own. Your phone, that coffee cup in your hand, the shirt you're wearing. For hundreds of years, our economy has treated all of it like it's on a one-way street with a dead end. There's a clear beginning, a middle, and then a very final, very wasteful ending.
And this is exactly what that one-way street looks like. First, we take resources out of the ground. Then we make stuff. Then we use that stuff, sometimes for just a few minutes. And when we're done, we throw it away. And that's it. The story's over. All that value is just gone. And what are we left with? A giant pile of waste. This is the take, make, waste model. And it's what the circular economy is all about changing.
Okay, so if the problem is a straight line that leads to a dead end, how do we build a smarter system? Well, the solution is actually pretty elegant. We turn that line into a circle. And that's the circular economy in a nutshell. It's a model that's designed from the ground up to get rid of waste. The whole goal is to keep products, materials, and all that energy we use to make them in the loop for as long as we possibly can. It's not about a single-use story. It's about creating these continuous cycles where things just keep generating value over and over again.
And this is where you can see the mindset completely flips. I mean, just look at the difference here. The old linear model, its only goal is to make and sell as much stuff as possible, which always ends in trash. But the circular model, its goal is to maximize the value and the use of everything we've already made. The end product isn't trash at all. It's a resource for the next cycle. It's a total game changer. Okay, so this all sounds really good in theory, right? But how does it actually, work? Well, it boils down to 3 core actions, and the order they happen in is absolutely crucial.
And here's probably the most important thing to get about all this. The circular economy doesn't start when you're standing over your trash cans. Nope. It starts way before that, back on the drawing board, before a product even exists. It's a hierarchy, a list of priorities. And you might be surprised to find that recycling is actually way down at the bottom.
So what's at the very top? The most powerful thing we can do? It's all about designing products to last from the get-go. This means making things that are durable, things that are easy to repair with normal tools, things you can upgrade, and get this, things that can be easily taken apart at the end of their life so all their little bits and pieces can be used again. Because, hey, if something is built to last, it might never become waste in the first place, right?
Okay, so if a product can't last forever, the next best thing is to keep it going for as long as we can. This is the whole world of reuse and repair. We're talking about resale websites, sharing platforms for things like cars or tools, or even just, getting something fixed instead of automatically buying a new one. It's all about holding on to the value and the work that went into making that thing in the first place. And only now, after we've tried everything else, only at the very end of the road, do we finally get to recycling. In a true circular economy, recycling is the last resort. It's what you do when something absolutely cannot be reused or repaired anymore. And why is that? Well, because even recycling takes a ton of energy, and you always lose a little bit of the material quality along the way. It's a good safety net for sure, but it's not the main goal.
Now, what's really cool is that this whole shift in thinking sparks completely new ways of doing business. Companies start moving from just selling you a product to offering you a service. Think about it like this. A company could sell you a light bulb, right? Or they could sell you lighting as a service. Now, suddenly, they own the light bulb, and it's in their best interest to make that bulb last as long and as efficiently as possible. The whole focus flips from how many they can sell to how well their product performs. So, we've seen the problem, we've seen the solution, but that brings us to the biggest question of all. Why should we care? What's the big payoff here? Why does all this matter? Well, the benefits are huge, and this is the best part. They're a win for our wallets and a win for the planet.
On the economic side, companies save a ton of money on raw materials, they create all kinds of new jobs in fields like repair and logistics, and it sparks incredible innovation. And for the environment, well, the wins are pretty obvious. Way less waste in our landfills, lower pollution, fewer greenhouse gas emissions. It's just a smarter, more responsible way to use the one planet we've got. It really is a win-win.
And all of this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. This is the big mental shift we have to make. The circular economy isn't really about managing our trash better. It's about completely rethinking what waste even is. And this quote just nails it. In a system that's truly circular, waste is basically seen as a design flaw. It's a sign that we just weren't clever enough. The ultimate goal is to build a system where the concept of trash doesn't even exist. There are only resources that are waiting for their next job.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you go to throw something out, try not to just ask yourself, okay, which bin does this go in? Instead, ask a different question. What resource am I throwing away, and how could its story have continued?